Okay, hold on. I gotta mic you up, guys. Let me mic you up. Boom. Maybe cut the gain down. I don't know. I like the fuzzy mic. How are you doing, fuzzy mic? Connected. Hello, hello. I don't know if they're connecting. How about this one? How do I know if they're connected? Am I slow? I feel silly and tired. I feel silly and tired, and I feel like I look like a mess. Washa. Washa. There's a whiteboard in here. Okay, can I use the whiteboard to cover it? It's okay, fire hazard, but hello. Wait, I can't tell if the audio is this mic, like, or if it's not connected. How do I know? The number's not even lighting up. What am I doing? Hello. First, welcome back. Scott. Salt man. It's not going through the mic. That's what I thought, because it's like blinking. Do you see that? What does that mean? Noise reduction. Pairing mode. 1, 2. I took a test. Oh, this is my new fit for, I got changed out of my pajamas. 1, 2. Do I disconnect everything and just try turn it off and turn it back on again? I feel exhausted. You know what? I guess it's not. You can hear me all right without the mic, right? I just think the mic would be a better audio quality. Look, we're doing law. We're doing law. Bradenburg v. Ohio. Skibbity Riz, Ohio versus the Ku Klux Klan is literally the case. Also, I still can't figure out how to run ads. But hello. Wait, I think I can do this. Okay, I might be able to run an ad. So if it goes into an ad, I did that. Oh, something went wrong. Unable to run ad. Run ad. Literally, it hates me. It hates me. What can I do? Also, I can't see my VOD from this morning. I also only have an hour in this room. So we're gonna hang out for an hour. And we're like less than that because I need to clean up before the next people try to come. We'll hang out for like 40 minutes. Maybe do some homework. But I'm just trying to get a feel of it all, you know? Know what I mean? Okay, I turned it off. I turned it back on. The ads didn't run right. It's the mic now, right? Does it sound better? I feel like it's gotta sound better, right? Right? Okay, is the audio quality better? I wanted to VOD review my morning stream, but it's not even letting me look at my VOD. So like, what am I supposed to do about that? It's only playing on one channel. Oh, I think it's because it's on stereo. How do I change that? How do I... Did I fix it? Was it like that this morning, or was I not even connected to the mic this morning? Was it like all for show? Me walking around holding the mic, was it all for show? And it meant nothing? Ooh, sure. I feel really sleepy right now. And I feel like everything was always broken. I think it was the same earlier. It's because I use these mics for the podcast. What if I just wore both mics at the same time? What would happen? I use these mics for the podcast recording, and we have them set to separate, like, tracks. So that's why. Okay, am I coming through both ears? Tell me, did this work? Wait, am I coming through both ears now? That's so funny. Wait, let me check. Can I hear my own? Can I hear myself? This is the silliest thing ever. I'm wearing 2 mics. What the hell? No one else is coming, Scott. Do you think they're all tired of me since I already spent an hour with them in the morning? Do you think they're sick and tired of me? I'm not even interesting anymore. My relevancy's faded. I completely fell off. Wait, so what have you been up to? How is your day? I'm opening a bag of chips. Hold on. Oh, it's shaped like fries. It's also later in a bunch of US where followers probably from. Is it? I thought I checked the thing and I'm like, oh, it's not even that late yet. Yeah, it's like 11 p.m. Like, I feel like, I guess everybody got older and everyone got jobs and stuff, but I feel like I streamed around this time before. I mean, I didn't start stream around this time, but like, but you're right. If people are resting, then let them rest, you know? Are you gonna go to bed soon? You're gonna leave me all by myself to read about the appellant, a leader of the Ku Klux Klan group, which was convicted under the Ohio criminal syndicalism statute for advocating the duty, necessity, or propriety. Is that what's gonna happen? Damn, I wish my electronics worked normally. And then that I wasn't so stupid. I can't figure anything out. These chips slap though, low-key. And I'm gonna pull you even closer because it's only you. It's only you and I can't, for some reason my chat's like really loading very slowly on my other cellular device. So I need you to be close so I can read your massages. EST? I forget, but I think I remember that you're an EST, but also look at this beautiful natural lighting we have today. This here on this fine day. How does this television work? No idea. I also, like, I would have music. I don't know what to do right now, guys. I'm not the vibe master right now. Hey, Sleeve. I was, then I wasn't, then I am again. So you are Eastern time right now. Hi, Sleeve. How are you? I'm reading about the Skibbity Riz, Ohio versus the KKK. I just got out of my first class for the day. I had a kanji test, and I think I aced it. And hopefully I did. We did a review in class. The teacher was very nice. We did a review in class, so it made me feel a lot better. Also, I'm wearing 2 mics because the mics are set to stereo for my podcast recordings. Oh, and I didn't, you know what, I'll do that after this because I only have this room for 1 hour. See, this is what I have to write things down, guys. I have to write things down. I'm getting my brains very, very stinky and bad. Oh, look, this is me practicing my kanji before my test today. I think I joined when I was still in New York, then I was in LA for 5.5 years, then just moved to Michigan. I love reading legal briefs, actually, unironically. Perfect. Well, that's my homework assignment, is I have to write my first brief. And I have to, sorry, I'm a little stressed out about it. But I have to include 1, the case citation, 2, the facts, 3, the rule, 4, the issue, 5, the holding, 6, the reasoning, 7, the concurring and dissenting opinions, and 8, the criticisms. And I actually do want to get into law. I feel not okay right now. Do you guys ever feel like you're dead, but you're like alive? That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. And you know what we need is the deafening silence is making me feel really awkward. Also, is there anyone who can check to see if you can see my VOD from this morning? Because why does it say that it's unavailable for me? Wait! How did you know that? You're real. You're a real one. You're not faking. That's crazy. Yeah. I'm realizing I think I have to type this out to submit it, but I was gonna write it out by hand. I watched Zoom Court. VOD not there. What the hell? Mobile sucks, guys. Do you think if I have a laptop I wouldn't have these problems, or do you think I would still have all these same problems if I streamed off of a laptop? I'm so mad right now. Okay, I need to write a to-do list for the day, or else I'll go crazy. Today's the 23rd for me, I believe. Yes. Okay, 2026. January 23rd. It is 12:49 p.m. To-do list. Guys, I'm in school, so I'm trying to look normal. Phone versus laptop doesn't matter. I just need to check my VOD settings. So you're telling me you're just dumb. You're telling me that I'm just stupid. And that I should... Never mind. I need to drink more water and more caffeine and eat more chips. Boom, roasted. It's kind of sad that these VODs are lost in time forever. Like, I'm sad that the VOD from this morning, like, I'll just never get to see that. That's really sad. If someone remembers scene by scene, could somebody just draw out the entire VOD and create, like, a hour-long video so that I could watch it? Did you know that pretty much literally everything in your body is worse when you're dehydrated? Yeah, that makes sense. I do think I am dehydrated. Like the caffeine feels good a little bit, but I know that what I really need is a lot of this water, so. Oh my goodness, and that's why you're a salt man. Also, can you guys hear the music? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing if you can. Okay, current number, okay, it's 12:49 p.m., correct? My class starts 3:20 p.m. I don't know if I should be telling you all these details. Oh, wait, also, hold on. I need to check on my cat. And my mom is sending me updates. We were just hanging out doing nothing, by the way. I went home for a while last night and came back this morning and she wasお留守番したけど、おりこさんだったみたいし、ポリポリ and a little bit of おやつ今高いところから外見えてる。Okay, it sounds like she's doing well. It's cool when, like, you know, it takes a village. And I love that I have a cat. You guys don't really know my cat that well because, like, she hasn't been around much online. You know, I like to protect my child's privacy online. Thank you so much. I hope you're feeling okay too. Okay. Now let's go see my friend from my school. They didn't respond to me. I don't know if I'm eating lunch with my friend today or not. But normally we eat lunch together. Wait, is this right? No. I'm confused. 3:20 is when I have my class on Tuesdays. Today's Friday for me. So I have class from 3:50 to 4:50 class. This assignment is due before the class starts. At what time exactly? Let me check that. I know, I love cats too. Your cats are so pretty. How are they? Also, like, tell me why this feels like such like a brute force solution. I'm like, I'm not gonna figure out how to turn the mics back to mono. I'm just gonna literally wear both the left and the right ear mics. Oh my gosh, my canvas is so slow. Anyways. Okay, so the case brief, I need to finish it before the class starts. Oh, I need to drop one of my classes too. I want to also make an advisor meeting because I have not talked to my advisor since I've gotten here. And then I want to drop my advertising class at some point today too. I like using military time, so let me go 15:50 to 16:50. It's easier for my brain. Okay, Maj. Or announcement? Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm sure, we find the right, like, animals to be in our lives when they're everything happens for a reason at its own timing. I would like to I'm trying to get a second cat too, but I'm planning on moving soon. So we're going to do the moving thing soon. I'm taking the summer semester off as my plan. So during my summer semester, I'll have more time to just like chill at home, I think. I don't know. I guess it depends. But if I do, then I'm hoping to find like a good fit cat. Like a cat that would get is able to get along with my cat and like maybe a cat that's been looking for a home. Because I do feel bad that I have like an only child cat. Okay. Bruh. When is it due? When he doesn't say when your homework assignment's due. It was somewhere. But well, it's due sometime before class today. I guess if I turn it in a little late, I'm like not gonna die. Okay. That's the main thing for today. And then I just need to not forget that after my last class today, I have a club meeting. And I'm hoping it goes well. Oh, 15:50. Okay, it's due when the class starts. So I only have like 30 minutes left in this room, guys. 13:30 reservation ends. Should I just live stream you guys like in like the public space, cause instead of like the rented rooms? If I meet with my friend to eat lunch, we usually meet at 2:30, so that's 14:30. Lunch? Question mark. And that usually goes on until my class starts. That means I only have like an hour and a half to do this case brief. Okay. So let's look at the case brief example real quick that he provided, or should we just read through the case? To get an understanding. Okay. So we have Bradenburg v. Ohio. This was argued February 27th, 1969, and the decision was made June 9th, 1969. Allen Brown, Cincinnati, Ohio, for appellant. Leonard Kirshner, Cincinnati, Ohio, for appealee. Right. Per curiam. Bear with me, guys. This is my first time reading a case brief, so. Okay, the appellant, a leader of the Ku Klux Klan group, was convicted under the Ohio Criminal Syndicalism statute for advocating the duty, necessity, or propriety. Page 445 of crime. I see. Propriety of crime, sabotage, violence, or unlawful methods of terrorism as a means of accomplishing industrial or political reform, and for voluntarily assembling with any society, group, or assemblance of persons formed to teach or advocate the doctrines of criminal syndicalism. Ohio Rev Code and 292313 was fined $1,000 and sentenced to 1 to 10 years imprisonment. So that this is, what's the word? Oh wait, Ohio, this is the code. That's a code. He was fined and sentenced to 10 years of imprisonment. That means that's part of the facts. These are procedural facts because this is something that happened in a court of law previously. Procedural. I'm not gonna annotate. Yeah, I need to practice some Latin words. Also, this is like a shortened version, so I'm sure it's like much brief compared to like the full. I'm gonna annotate what I pick up, but initially just gonna focus on making sure I'm understanding what's happening. So he was fined $1,000 and sentenced to 1 to 10 years imprisonment. The appellant challenges the constitutionality of the criminal syndicalism statute under the First and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution. First and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution. But the Intermediate Appellate Court of Ohio affirmed his convictions without opinion. The Supreme Court of Ohio dismissed his appeal. These are all important facts. Sua sponte, for reasons that no substantial constitution, no question exists herein. It did not file an opinion or an explanation or explain its conclusions. Okay, so no reasons were expanded upon. Appeal was taken to this court, and we noted probable jurisdiction. 393 U.S. 94889 S South Court, I assume. We reverse. Okay, so this is like some kind of statute that they're talking about, and they're talking about they're reversing it or something. I don't understand. The record shows that a man identified at trial as the appellant telephoned an announcer reporter on the staff of Cincinnati television station and invited him to come to a Ku Klux Klan rally to be held at a farm in Hamilton Country. With the cooperation of the organizers, the reporter and a cameraman attended the meeting and filmed the events. Portions of the films were later broadcasted on the local station and on a national network. The prosecution's case rested on the films and Wait, hold on. So the appellant invited like a reporter person to this KKK meeting. With the cooperation of the reporter and the camera, attended the meeting and filmed the events. Portions of the films were later broadcasted on local stations and on national networks. Okay. Oh, sua sponte. I see. Wow, this is actually so helpful. I need to bring more highlighters to class. All I have is this red marker. Thank you. It was asked to be dismissed without. Wait. It was dismissed without anyone asking. It was dismissed without anyone asking for dismissal. The Supreme Court of Ohio dismissed his appeal sua sponte. Okay, that makes sense. They were like, so pretty much the Court of Ohio dismissed the appeal, pretty much being like, there's no reason for your appeal. I'm not even going to bother with it, kind of thing. Okay, so then this one, it's talking about the guy who's trying to appeal, the appellant, which is Alan Brown, right? Alan Brown. Brown invited a announcer reporter to a KKK meeting, which was filmed and then later broadcasted. Okay, the prosecution's case rested on the films and on the testimony identifying the appellant as the person who communicated with the reporter and who spoke at the rally. The state also introduced into evidence several articles appearing in the film, including a pistol, a rifle, a shotgun, ammunition, a Bible, and a red hood worn by the speaker in the films. I know I said I wasn't gonna analyze it like on the first read, but like I guess like the fact that there's like armed like pistol, a rifle, a shotgun, like there's arms like is important for the fact because the case is speaking about saying that you can't advocate for violence, right? So one film showed 12 hooded figures, some whom carried firearms. Yeah, this is important. They were gathered around a large wooden cross which they burned. No one was present other than the participants and the newsmen who made the film. Most of the words uttered during the scene were incomprehensible when the film was projected, but scattered phrases could be understood that were derogatory of Black people and in one instance of Jewish people. Another scene on the film, on the same film, showed the appellant in Klan regalia making a speech. I'm guessing a regalia is like some kind of status, clothing that shows status. The speech in full was as follows. Okay, so all of this information is the substantive facts. Like, not all of it's important facts, but these are all of the things that happened prior to any court proceedings ever taking place. Big pointy head. Got it. It's actually really sad how little I know. Thanks, Slave. Slave, you're so supportive. And Scott's just an asshole. I'm just kidding. He literally didn't say anything wrong. I just bullied him for no reason. Anyways, we're just still discussing the substantive facts rather than procedural facts. Okay? So I feel like this is not a good thing to be reading. Is decorations and insignia of rank. That makes sense. I'm assuming it comes from the same root word as like regal. Actually, I think it might be. So the speech by the Ku Klux person in full was as follows. This is an organizers meeting. We have had quite a few members here today, we have hundreds of members throughout the state of Ohio. I can quote from a newspaper clipping from the Columbus, Ohio Dispatch 5 weeks ago, Sunday morning. Dispatch mentioned. The Klan has more members in the state of Ohio than does any other organization. We're not a revengent organization. But if our president, our Congress, our Supreme Court continues to suppress the white Caucasian race, it is possible that there might have to be some revengeance taken. We are marching on Congress July the 4th, 400,000 strong. From there, we are dividing into two groups. One group to march on St. Augustine, Florida. The other group to march in Mississippi. Thank you. Oh, yes. The suppression of the white people, am I right? I hate it when white people are being suppressed. I know, I'm like, I'm just like, what's it called? I'm not popular or important enough to be worried about clippers. But if I was popular enough to be clip farmed, that was a good clip farm, right, guys? Dang it. Yeah, we really need to stop suppressing the white people, am I right, guys? Come on. Yeah. That's the funny thing about court. Like, there's like I like watching court proceedings as well. And like one of the people that I watch that reviews court proceedings, I like it because they talk about how there is like the court system with laws and stuff like that, and then there is the court of opinion, like public opinion and the opinion of the jury and things like that. And they are different, but they both are important. My PR managers are like here to like freaking out. The second film showed 6 hooded figures, one whom later identified as the appellant repeated a speech very similar to that recorded on the first film. The reference to the possibility of vengeance was omitted and one sentence was added. Personally, I believe the blacked out word should be returned to Africa. So I'm assuming this is like a slur that's redacted. It should be returned to Africa. The Jews returned to Israel. Though some of the figures in the films carried weapons, the speaker did not. I feel like this is something that would be used in court. They're like, well, some of the people were carrying guns, but the guy talking wasn't, so he wasn't inciting violence because, like, he can't be held accountable for the actions of the people around him or something like that, right? That sounds like a very court casey thing. Brie Goose, manager at Brie Goose is gonna get, he's gonna be getting some, yeah, exactly. Let me put on my like, manager hat. Be like, Brie, we really shouldn't be talking about this court case on the internet. It's not really good for our brand image. I'm here to educate the people. I'm gonna still eat it, even though it's out of the table. Okay. The Ohio Criminal Syndicalism statute was enacted in 1919. From 1970 to 1920, identical or quite similar laws were adopted by 20 states and 2 territories. So the Criminal Syndicalism statute was enacted in 1999, and the Ohio Criminal Syndicalism statute is the one in which advocating the duty, necessity, or propriety of crime, sabotage, violence, or unlawful methods of terrorism as a means of accomplishing industrial or political reform, and for the voluntary assembling with any society group or assemblance of persons formed to teach, advocate the doctrines of criminal syndicalism. That's that. And then we also need to note that it's Ohio statute, so this is a state law, right? State law, which is important because, they have rankings and such. From 1917 to 1920, identical or quite similar laws were adopted by 20 states and 2 territories. 2 territories of the state. And this is also procedural facts that are kind of important because were saying that not only did Ohio think that this law was the correct law to make, but similar courts in the same... Y'all, hold on. I know the lingo, I just need to look at my reading to help me because I'm not well versed in the language. Okay. Honey, what? Guys, we're running out of time. I'm nervous. Okay, it's not a higher court, but it's what's it called? It's persuasive authority, not mandatory, because mandatory authority means like the Supreme Court made a decision, which means that every other court underneath has to follow that decision. But persuasive authority is when courts in your own same level or lower are making the same types of laws. So they're pretty much agreeing that what you're saying is like valid. Persuasive authority. Whew. E. Dowell, A History of Criminal Syndicalism Legislation in the United States, 21, 1939. Right. In 1927, this court sustained the constitutionality of California's Criminal Syndicalism Act, California Penal Code 11400-1142, the text of which is quite similar to that of the laws of Ohio, Whitney v. California, with the law code in 1927. The court upheld the statutes on the ground that advocating violence means to effect political and economic change. The court upheld the statute on the ground that without more advocating violent means to effect political and economic change involves such danger to the security of the state that the state may outlaw it. Got it. The court is establishing a record of the lower court decisions that will be affected by the ruling they're making now. Yeah. You get it. We're eating this up, guys. We're eating this up. Okay. So I'm just gonna squiggle. It feels like hard because it's already a condensed version, so it's like he wants us to pull out the important information, and I'm like, a lot of this feels really important, but this is the job of a lawyer, I guess. The court upheld the statutes on the ground. Oh, right, we just read that. Fisk v. Kansas. Okay. That's another thing that they're talking about in 1927. But Whitney has been thoroughly discredited by later decisions. See Dennis v. United States. This is a lot of precedent that we're going through. I'm confused. These later decisions have fashioned the principle that the constitutional guarantees of free speech and free press do not permit a state to forbid or prescribe advocacy of the use of force or of a law violation except where such advocacy is directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. Right. They're saying that the Constitution, right, which is like one of the biggest law, the biggest law of the states, gives you free speech and free press. And that means that the state does not have the power forbid or prescribe advocacy of the use of force, or does not permit a state to forbid or prescribe advocacy of the use of force. I'm like having to break this in. Or of law violation, except where such advocacy is directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such actions. So this is like those moments where we're like, how do we define imminent lawless action? And how would we define if it's likely to incite or produce such action? Oh my God, we gotta pack it up in like 3 minutes. We're not even done reading. I think we can read and then maybe I'll just go out into the public and we can just be streaming out in the public. Okay. Noto v. United States, 1961. The mere abstract teaching of the moral propriety or even moral necessity for a resort to force and violence is not the same as preparing a group for violent action and steeling it to such action. So this thing, Noto v. US, is saying, talking about or teaching about force or violence is not the same thing as telling somebody to do it, that you should do it. Like, teaching isn't the same. Actively planning, organizing. Henderson v. Lowry. Bitch, I'm Taylor of 1937. Bond v. Floyd, 1966. A statute which fails to draw this distinction impermissibly intrudes upon the freedoms guaranteed by the First and 14th Amendments. Bond v. Floyd, which has been mentioned. Where is Bond v. Floyd? Did we talk about it already? I need to write a list of all of this. No definition of the likely to imminent lawless action except what it means would be considered in the context of it. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like in class so far, we've talked about how, it is sometimes important for laws to be written slightly vaguely so that because it is like the lawyer's responsibility to interpret the law, and if we wanted to remove all nuance, then we in a way take away the responsibility of the lawyers to interpret the law or something like that. And so, but yeah, I think they're important things to note, because if I was the lawyer, then those are the points in which that I would want to use to convince in favor of whoever it was that I am, whoever it is that I'm being a lawyer to, correct? So that's pretty interesting. I'm going to start packing up a little bit. But I won't end the stream. I think maybe I'll be able to find a spot we can keep on talking, because I'm having a good time. You rock. Thank you. A lawyer's job is to be vigorous a vigorous advocate. Judging is for judge. Exactly, yeah. I was talking about this too, like, because I am also, like, I am genuinely interested in law, and, like, I almost dropped this class because time-wise, like, the time of the day that this class is, it's not very convenient for me, but I've always been really interested in law, and, like, I'm glad to have an opportunity to learn more about it, because maybe I have more of an interest or, like, a knack for it than I am currently aware of, because I've just never actually properly studied it before. But I think that it is, what's it called? I had something to say there. I had a point to make. I wonder what it is. Oh, right. It's the fact that, like, you know, I think when you're younger, or people who don't really know that much about the law, like, I feel like lawyers seem like they're just like, we know all the facts and we're just presenting you the facts, and that's part of the job. But I think a more important part of a lawyer's job is to create, like, an enticing narrative. I think the job of a lawyer is to be able to create a story that ties together all your facts and reasonings, and be persuasive. You know. Found me lonely, lost and only, one step away from just giving up slowly. I was a mess. I just like arguing. So wait, I want to learn more about what are you studying for law, Scott? It's super useful as an adult to understand how law and legal systems actually work in real life. Yeah. Honestly, something that, like, really inspires me to want to learn more about law as well is because I feel like I don't know how to phrase this without it, like, sounding really bad, but, like, I wish I understood the law system more when I was a child, because I think that I was scared into believing things that weren't true and not learning to be able to advocate for myself and all of these things, and I think that things could have been different in my life if I knew how that worked. And obviously I'm not complaining, like, or anything like that. Like, everything worked out in the end and everything. But if I could learn law and, like, specifically to deal with, like, representing children and, like, minors and stuff like that, I think that would really speak to me. But I don't know if that's something I would really be able to do, but it is something that I consider, because I wish that there was somebody like that that I could turn to. Like, I feel like especially like a high school, because I think at a high school you're also at a level of maturity already where, like, you're not just complaining to complaining, like, complain. Like, I don't think, like, any child just complains to complain, but, like, well, that can be argued. But, like, I feel like there should be some kind of, like, lawyer on site at high schools. Am I weird for thinking that? Because, like, I think it's important that there's somebody who has, like, a understanding of law that can advise people. Because I definitely wanted to be emancipated as a child, but I didn't really understand how to legally go about that. And my parents kind of got in the way of me learning how to do that, But anyways, I took a job for my dad to work at his firm. Okay, nepotism. I'm doing supervising intakes for educational-based cases, student discipline, special education, teacher employment defenses. Like, they do push me into paralegal and probably going into law school eventually. That's really cool. Honestly, that's the state of the world we're in right now. Like, when we need the nepotism just to get the minimum wage entry level job. I'm not sure what AFAIK stands for. Am I unk for that? Am I unk for not knowing what that means? You need paying clients, first of all, and then you also take on pro bono cases you feel passionate about. Oh, yeah. as far as I know. Yeah, I think that's the reason too why in the past I had a hard time considering law, is because like I was like I think I'd have a hard time having clients that I didn't personally like agree with. They're like having clients in which that like I had a personal, like I didn't personally like their case, but like that's not your job. Is to not like, is not to like the case or not. It's just simply to hold on, we're going out into public real quick. It's a little bit scary, so. Wisha. Maybe we can just go here. We're in the public space now. See, Sleeve, like I feel like that's how I feel too, right? I mean, and that's the thing is you can turn down clients, and it's just, I think it's like a businessification of it all that makes things like this difficult, because some people will take on, I mean, like, I can't imagine what it's like to be like a public defender, you know, because you kind of have to take on, or like at least get involved in a lot of cases that maybe you don't have a lot of personal like interest in. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to like set up my space now that we're out here. This is fun though, I'm glad we're doing this. This looks like so scary, like. Like, I don't want to take up that much space, but I guess nobody else is here. Yeah. That's like an interesting point about like suing and stuff like that like we've been talking about in class as well. Like what are the limitations of the court, and or like what are the limitations of the claims that can be made through the court. I feel like it would be like an interesting or like cool thing if like you were educated enough to be a lawyer, but it was more like your side job than your main job. I feel like like growing up and as an adult, like I've realized that like in most cases it's not really healthy to just have one job, especially when it pertains to dealing with people. Like when I was working as a nurse, like I don't think it was really healthy to just be a nurse. Like you kind of need to be doing other things in your life, because when like caring for people is your only source of income, there does become a point in which like the distinction between like caring for someone's life and you are just doing your job kind of starts to blur. And that's like a very difficult time, I think, for people that, you know, go into the job out of compassion, which is very interesting. Okay. It is a little bit embarrassing now that like I mean, I knew people could hear me before, but like I'm out and like I know people, like people can look at me. You know, it's like a little, I feel a little nervous. Yeah. I use all of the law knowledge I've gained from this job and before working in contracts to argue rules for tabletop miniatures. That's the goal. Yeah. I'm like, it's good for me too as well to learn the law because like if I continue to like work in like content, like it's good for me to be able to understand contracts and like copyright law and all this kind of stuff. Like I don't like that's scary. I don't like being the type of person that like doesn't know what's going on and I have to like rely on somebody else to like tell me what's like happening, you know? I think this is what I'm gonna do actually. Yoisha. Okay. Let us continue reading. I'm considering like posting like my homework assignments onto like Discord or whatever for people who are interested in the topics I'm learning about, and then like we could kind of like study together. At least like I could give you the materials that I'm gaining, and I don't know if there's any legal issues in that, but like just like weekly on Instagram or something, like these are the articles I read, these are some of the topics that we covered in class, and then like people want to talk about it. I'm just like that. It just like it'd be cool to have like a Discord to discuss all that together and everything. For like each class, we could have like a different, not server, but what's it called? Channel. But that would require me to be like active, really like actively on the Discord, and I just feel like I never have time for anything. But I know a big part of that is because of my like giant commute literally every day. So hopefully with moving and stuff that will change. Guys, I'm scared. Okay, let's continue reading because we're on the back page. So in Bon v. Floyd, they're talking about Bon v. Floyd, 1966, a statute which fails to draw its distinction impermissibly intrudes upon the freedoms guaranteed by the First and 14th Amendments. It sweeps within its condemnation speech, which our constitution has immunized. How do you say that? Immunized from governmental control. Yates v. United States. Yates v. United States. And Johns v. Oregon of 1937. Stromberg v. California, 1931. See also United States v. Robel, 1967. Keyshawn v. Board of Regents in 1967. Alf Brandt v. Russell, 1966. Aptheker v. Secretary of State, 1964. Baggett v. Bullitt, 1964. You could ask the teacher what they think about having a social study group. They'd probably say make sure you only turn in your own work. Yeah. See, well, yeah, I guess the two hurdles that I have is one is making sure that it's like okay for me to share the content that they're sharing with me. I mean, it's not like textbook material, but technically, like I comprehend, like I understand that technically I am paying for the school, which is what's giving me the resources, even if I'm not paying for the textbook itself. But then also I just don't know if I can make that time commitment. I would think that I would only really be able to post like, hey, this is what I got assigned, this is my, like, this is what I did this week. And then like there would need to be enough people to keep the conversation going without me, which I feel like that's something that we've been struggling to do a bit in the community, especially, you know, since I've been gone for like years. But it could be a fun thing to do even at a light level. So I might just do Instagram posts instead of a Discord server, and see what the demand is like. Okay, so these are just, we're getting a lot of, all of these court cases are, here, I'm gonna put the gain down a little bit and see, is it picking up a lot of background noise? I think these are all precedent courts, or cases that they're just mentioning. I just want to make sure, can you guys still hear me okay? And is there like too much background noise? Measured by this test, Ohio's Criminal Syndicalism Act cannot be sustained. The act punishes persons who advocate or teach. Measured by this test, Ohio's Criminal Syndicalism Act cannot be sustained. The act punishes persons who advocate or teach the duty, necessity, or propriety of violence. As a means of accomplishing. Sorry, this is not making sense. Okay, we're good. Okay. Measured by this test, Ohio's Criminal Syndicalism Act cannot be sustained. Ooh, okay. So is this the, what's it called? That sounds like the holding, potentially. Right? The act punishes persons who advocate or teach the duty, necessity, or propriety of violence as a means of accomplishing industrial or political reform, or who publish or circulate or display any book or paper containing such advocacy, or who justify the commissions of violent acts with intent to exemplify, spread, or advocate the propriety of the doctrines of criminal syndicalism, or who voluntarily assemble with a group formed to teach or advocate the doctrines of criminal syndicalism. Neither the indictment nor the trial judge's instructions to the jury in any way refine the statute's bald definition of the crime in terms of mere advocacy, not distinguished from incitement or imminent lawless action. Accordingly, we are here confronted with a statute by which its own words, as applied, purports to punish mere advocacy and to forbid, on plane of criminal punishment, assembly with others merely to advocate or describe type of action. Such a statute falls within the condemnation of the First and 14th Amendments. The contrary teaching of Whitney v. California Supra cannot be supported, and that decision is therefore overruled. Period. That's all I got. So from what I'm understanding, I want to move again, but I won't right now. Unless actually, but like what I'm understanding is that this case. Sorry, I'm moving my stuff again. Yosha. see. I really do hope I can figure out the VODs thing. But the law that is being discussed was overturned because it's saying it's unlawful to punish somebody for speaking about using violence. It's like impeaching on the freedom of speech and such. Okay, I only have black pens. Okay, well, so for the briefing, hi, not evil. Are you sure about that? My friend still didn't respond about if we're getting lunch together. Okay, so we have our briefing instructions. Step number 1 is the case citation. So we have Bradenburg v. Ohio, 1969. That's all he requires for the citation. We need the facts. Facts, which is the substantive. Could the Ohio statute still be used to prosecute speech likely to produce imminent lawlessness? Yes, the Ohio statute can be used to prosecute speech if they're able to prove there was imminent lawlessness action that was likely to incite or produce. If it was inciting or likely to incite or produce imminent lawless action. Right. Because they didn't... Because Ohio's... It's saying it can't be sustained, but it hasn't been overruled. It's the Whitney v. California Supra, which was overruled, which means that doesn't count anymore, I believe. I think. Maybe you guys know better. Maybe you know better than me. I'm trying to show maybe. I care more. I'm worried about the aesthetics. I should be focused on learning. Substantive. Write in your own words. Then procedural. Sorry, I got distracted. Write your own words. Okay. Rule is the state of law at the time of decision, can come from constitution, state to state, original rule, then new rule which was made. You got it. Okay. The application of the statute to cases like this is unsustainable. Right. Okay. So the facts I have a grasp on. The rule is the hard part. So the state of the law at the time of the decision, it's pretty much saying what law is being spoken about. And so we are talking about the Ohio criminal syndicalism is it officially called? Syndicalism Act. Or I guess it's considered the Ohio Rev Code ANN 29231. I don't know, is that the same thing, just different name? Ohio Rev Code ANN 2923.13. I think.
When you come together, like weekly or twice every month, or how do you like discuss or brainstorm your ideas?
So that is a law at the time of the decision. The new rule which was made. Whitney v. California Supra. I'm like getting lost. Maybe I also need more water because I feel like I can't think straight. Where was Whitney v. California? Oh, right here. In 1927, this court sustained the constitutionality of California's Criminal Syndicalism Act, CalPen, right? The text of which quite similar to the laws of Ohio, Whitney v. California. Right. I'm just gonna skip that for now. Okay, issue. A court opinion will include more issues. Two components, the rule of law and specific facts. Right. I need more highlighters, guys. Okay, so the questions are things. The questions are the questions that I asked, I think. I'm gonna just go in order of the thing. I'm gonna read it again and write down notes this time more properly that I understand the thing. So we're gonna start from the beginning, okay? So we have Alan Brown and Leonard Kushner. The appellant, a leader of the Ku Klux Klan group, was convicted under the Ohio Criminal Syndicalism statute for advocating so this is procedural facts. So we'll just write facts. Procedural. I don't know if I spelled that right, but he was convicted. So Brown is convicted under the Ohio Criminal Syndicalism Act or statute. Okay. Thank you for the follow. Tessellation Police. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Right, and they describe, okay. He was fined $1,000, fined $1,000, and sentenced to 1 to 10 years imprisonment. The appealant challenged the constitutionality of the criminal syndicalism statute under the First and 14th. Okay. I'm gonna put a in arrow. So his question is this constitutional considering the First and 14th Amendment. What is the 14th Amendment? What is the 14th Amendment? My Wi-Fi is very slow here. But the Intermediate Appellate Court of Ohio affirmed his conviction without opinion. So the result, he appealed, he challenged the constitutionality, but the procedural fact. The 14th Amendment to the U.S. grants citizenships to all persons born or naturalized in the U.S., including formerly enslaved people. It prohibits states from denying anyone due process of law or equal protection under the law. Okay. I guess so. The appellant is arguing that like the 14th Amendment applies because the people that he wants political justice from are American citizens and therefore are need to have due process of law or something, I think. So the intermediate appellate
That's actually quite interesting, yeah. And I think this would, if they had the time, I think they would be happy to have like a
Court
like this weekly
of
session where what's currently happening.
Ohio
It's actually a good idea. This, my favorite professors often they don't
affirmed
talk about what they're super interested in. Of course, it's always the
his
so if it's short
conviction.
it might not work out. But like
I'm just copying right now, but
this is something
without opinion.
anytime something happens,
And opinion is important, you know? Like the concurring and dissenting opinions. Pretty much saying that it was like unanimous, like no one really had anything more to say. And then the Supreme Court of Ohio dismissed his appeal sua sponte for no or I feel like I'm just copying what like this is saying, but I'm organizing my thoughts, so it's okay. Oh, you made pancakes? Making pancakes, baking. I want pancakes.
So I think it's like everyone can kind of be comfortable with whatever they do.
For
And in terms of the society is like completely voluntary.
substantial
Thought, right? And I know we are often students, we're busy, and we have. I don't know if you have
constitutional question exists. Okay. It did not file an opinion or explain its conclusions conclusion, so there was also no description. No. What is it? Dissent and what is the other word? Concurring or dissent.
And I can, I'm at the edge, but I can handle it, right? But I want to make sure that no one takes
Okay.
too much.
Appeal was taken to this court, and we noted. Wait, who is this court? State of Ohio.
I want to make sure that this doesn't happen. That at some point you have like two people that do all the work, and then things as well.
Appeal was taken to this court, and we noted probable jurisdiction, and we reverse. So what's the difference between the Supreme Court of Ohio and Ohio State Court? State of Ohio. I guess the Ohio court is Ohio State Court stronger than the Ohio Supreme Court? Okay, so the appeal was taken, then appeal was taken to Ohio State Court.
We have to assess what we can do and when it's time to maybe rest.
And we noted probable jurisdiction. One is state-driven, other is by the court system. That kind of makes sense. Like the Supreme Court is the biggest of the court system, but the Ohio State is like the number one. I don't know. States have their own court systems, and their decisions can be appealed by federal courts. I'm confused though, because this case is like, it's the Ohio State, right? Oh, it's the Supreme It's the Supreme Court talking about the case versus this person and Ohio. But this is the Supreme Court's decision. I understand now. Thank you. Y'all saved me there from looking like a fool in class. Okay, taken to the U.S. Supreme Court. Right, because he even said that like all of the cases we're going to be looking at in class are Supreme Court cases, and I still managed to forget. Boom knowledge. And they reversed the decision. That's the important part. Boom, like we literally had the most key important parts right there. Okay, so those are some of the procedural facts that we have so far, and then we go into the substantial facts. But for substantial facts, we need to this time pull out the important information. Include the facts the court later points when making a decision. Okay, substantial. Okay, the record shows that the man identified at the trial as the appellant telephoned an announcer reporter on the staff of the Cincinnati television station and invited him to come to a Ku Klux Klan rally to be held in Hamilton County with the cooperation of the organizers. The reporter and the camera attended the meeting and filmed the events. Portions of the films were later broadcast on a local station and on a national network. I'm like,